All right, welcome to the Fantasy Six Pack YouTube channel. My name is Joe Bond, founder of FantasySixPack.net. With me is Jason Beckner. Today, we're going to be covering our Fantasy Baseball ADP Movers, the hitter edition. We've already done our pitchers. We recorded that last night. You can find it on our YouTube channel. Make sure you go check that one out. And before we jump into things, though, I just want to remind everybody, hit those subscribe buttons, leave those comments. We appreciate it. And go become an all-access member at Fantasy Six Pack. We've got the most accurate rankings out there. Fantasy Pros, Keith Lott was number 1 this year. I'm number 6. Travis Argo, number 10. We're the only site who has 3 in the top 10. So if you want access to our full rankings, you've got to become a member. We've also got Discord. We've got cheat sheets. We've got DFS stuff once the season rolls in. And then it'll include our football stuff once that gets going too. So it'll be good stuff here. So let's start rolling here with our ADP movers. We're going to start off here with Mr. Jordan Walker of the St. Louis Cardinals. Prospect de jour here, man. Everybody is gushing over this guy, and you see it right there on the screen here. The ADP has jumped up almost an entire 100 spots. Like, that is insane. It's an 80-spot move since, before March, and then since March. He's been killing it in the spring. I know he's got a little bit of an injury right now, but people are still just not scared. The min picks is 85. I mean, at what point is it just not worth drafting this guy? Because we still don't know if he's breaking camp with the Cardinals. And that's a hefty price tag for him.
Yeah, I think you nailed a lot of points on the head there. We still, again, don't know if he's going to break camp with the team. Yes, he's off to an amazing spring. He does not look overwhelmed. However, this is a once maybe a generational talent at one point. So it could benefit the Cardinals by, getting that extra year of control. So I would not be surprised if Jordan Walker is in AAA to start the year. We've seen it over and over and over again. I know they tried to manipulate the CBA here and there with the Rookie of the Year stipulations and things like that. But when you got a guy like this and you can get an extra year of control, unfortunately, it's not the greatest situation, but it's a business at the end of the day, and there's a good chance that he does not start this on the team and start the spring or opening day.
You see here on the screen, he's got third base and outfield eligibility. He's not playing third. Nolan Arenado not going anywhere, right?
Yep.
So then he goes into the outfield. Who does he start over? They've got a really solid outfield, and on top of that, their DH Juan Yepes is nothing to sneeze at either. Like it's a good team. So it's not like they have to bring him up to be, maybe they would be better if they brought him up, right? I think people would agree with that, but they're not going to be bad if they hold him out a month, 3 weeks, whatever it is, right?
Yeah. Yep.
You want to see guys like this in the majors. You really do. And I just am not comfortable. We're concluding our Fantasy Six Pack Series drafts right now, and he was talked about constantly. Every draft, I feel like, once he got picked, it was like, oh, there's Jordan Walker, and everybody's like, I wanted him, and it's like, like that was the comment. Like, we have 11 divisions. I heard that comment 11 times. It felt like it was just like everybody wants this kid, and so like because of that, you're seeing the ADP creep, right? And I don't buy into that with these guys. Like there's just too much risk. Like Mike Trout got sent down, guys. Like it's not a guarantee. It's a little bit different now. I feel like you see more of these top end prospects today be more productive right away, but it's still not guaranteed at all. Like I think it'll be good, but what is that? That's in a 12-team league. That's like a late 11th round pick. That's a lot. There's some good players still there who can will contribute right away. It's tough to sit on a guy when you don't know how long he's going to be out. But let's move on here to our next one. And Corbin Carroll, another prospect, but he was called up last year. didn't crush the ball right away, but this is another like once in a lifetime type of talent. People are expecting really, really big things out of this guy. He's got power, got speed. He's going to break camp with the Diamondbacks because he already played last year. There's absolutely no reason to send him back down.
And he just signed the contract extension, so he is
correct
on. Yep, he will be on the team.
So it doesn't even matter. Like,
yep.
His ADP prior to March was 72. It is now 58. So we're seeing the creep go up. The min pick of 37. Whoa, baby.
Yeah,
that's aggressive. Are you comfortable taking him? I've seen him in our drafts. Now we're a 12-team league. We only start 4 outfielders. I still see him going anywhere between like outfielder 12 and like outfielder, I think like 18th is the lowest I saw him go in our leagues. Are you comfortable taking him there?
I am, I think. The only thing that concerns me a little bit is the power numbers, right? We just have not seen that power get there. However, I feel like something that could be developed. The speed is for real. I mean, on the video that's rounding Twitter now of him running from home to third is just insane. The speed is like through the roof. So the stolen bases are going to be there. The triples and the doubles are going to be there. It's just, can that power be there? The 37, there's no way I'm picking on that high. That's an insane 37 pick. But if I can get him like, 6th round in that area. You're talking about guys in that range of like Teoscar Hernandez, Eloy Jimenez. Those guys are good names. So it's like,
it's tough for me to pull the trigger on them. Again, I'm very risk adverse when it comes to drafting like that, and so I think the upside is massive.
Yes,
but man,
what doesn't come without.
I mean, now there's a lot of risk with somebody like
no home runs at all in April or May, and then everyone's like, "Why did I draft him 50th overall?"
Yeah, I mean, and I mean, look, there's risk with Eloy as well because we know he has had trouble staying on the field, but there's other guys going around that range too who are super good. So
yeah,
it is a tough sell for me to take him at that point, but man. At least with the difference between him and Walker is that he's going to be on the field as long as he's healthy. So that's the big difference here. So
absolutely
move over here to the next one, and I'm going to try my little trick of removing you real quick and then adding you back. And you're moving again. Sweet.
There we go.
That worked. We figured it out last night.
No more still photo.
Producing on the fly here. Next guy up, another young player here, Oneil Cruz, Pittsburgh Pirates. This guy is special. Power and speed out the roof. When he gets a hold of the ball, he hits the hell out of it. I mean, StatCast data is like his jam.
Yeah.
So fun to look at his StatCast page. He's exit velocity all in the reds, like barrel rates. It's crazy. He's so good. Problem is can he hit the ball, right? Can he actually make contact? He's got to make contact, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think we're seeing the ADP rise on him, and I think this has as I've been doing more drafts, I'm seeing him climb up the boards. And I think the reason why is you get through those elite shortstops. And then everybody looks and they're like, I mean, I could wait and go get I don't even know. I'm thinking of a name. Like, I could wait and get like a Tim Anderson who's fine and safe and, he's good. Or, man, I could shoot for the moon and go get an Oneil Cruz. And so they do. And, you're seeing the min pick, too, at 37. Are you willing to buy in on Oneil Cruz at this price?
I'm not. I love Oneil Cruz. I just don't think he has that batting average on base percentage that I'm looking for this high in the draft. I mean, yeah, the power is going to be there. The stolen bases, if you can get on, will be there. He just strikes out too much. He only hit 230 last year. He's on a bad lineup. I just don't see myself with the shortstop. You can definitely find a little bit of some late round guys. They're not going to produce obviously at the level that Oneil is, but you can get home runs elsewhere,
least, right? Yeah. Like we're seeing guys probably go after him. I'm looking at the names now, like Willie Thomas. You're looking at like Andres Jimenez. I know Tim Anderson is going after him too.
Right.
Our cheat sheet, just to spoiler alert, has Oneil Cruz ranked around 76. So the cheat sheet says no, and I tend to agree. Probably helps.
Yeah, I'd much rather have Tim Anderson.
So they're based off my formula, but I do agree with it. Sometimes, look, so I will admit, sometimes there are times where I look at the cheat sheet and I'm like, I mean, projections say this, and the formula is that, but man, my gut says otherwise. And so, like, I don't. It's not a Bible. Like, you don't have to follow it that way, and it's not meant to be followed. It's data for you to, digest and use to draft better. So believe me, I have gone the opposite direction of what the cheat sheet recommends me to do many times, and I still end up having good teams because the cheat sheet does then guide me back into the right lane there. So we're good. So Oneil Cruz, I think it's tough to take that batting average hit and then in an OBP league, right?
And I think consensus kind of agrees too with the a little bit of a dip in the ADP. I think other people are kind of being a little hesitant as well.
Yeah. Well, no, he's rising.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say no. People are buying, and it's because of the potential, right? Like if he figures it out, he could. I don't know. Is it crazy?
He could go 30-30.
30-30 easy.
Yeah.
But it's I sent a joke into the Discord channel, like somebody threw all this StatCast data out for the spring, and it was like a bunch of like exit velocities in the hundreds, right? It's just crazy. And I'm like, cool, he's going to have 75 hits this year, and 30 of them are going to be home runs. So he's going to bat like 190 with 30 home runs.
Yeah.
He's going to also steal 30 bases, but like, man, he's going to crush you. Like, it's Joey Gallo with steals. So maybe there's something to it. You can try to build your roster that way, but I don't know of a lot of teams that won with Joey Gallo, even when he was, hitting 30, 40 bombs.
Yeah.
That batting average hit hurts, and it's tough to
hard to make up that ratio for sure.
It really is, especially that early. Like you can get guys that's the framework of your team at that point still in their draft. And so you want guys, because the later you go, the batting averages and the OBPs get worse, right?
Yep.
So you're just naturally going to get guys who are going to hit in the low 200s because there's kind of nothing else out there after a while. To take one early, man, that's a tough sell for me. So I agree on his ADP. So let's move on here to kind of a fan favorite of mine. Not because I live close to the Nationals, but just I feel like he really could be a good player, and is Lane Thomas of the Washington Nationals. Little kind of cheap power speed combo guy, going super late in drafts. Now, this is NFBC data. Prior to March, he was going in just inside the 300. Since then, he's dropped a good 30 spots here, almost to 324. I get it, man. It's a bad team. He really didn't have that good of a year. However, if you look at the last couple of months, it was pretty solid. I actually did have him on one of my winning rosters last year. I picked him up late as he started getting hot. I was pretty desperate for an outfielder. I just was like, you know what? I'll take a couple homers and a couple steals here and there. Why not? And it worked. I ended up winning the league. So the min pick is hilarious. Min pick of 126. Yeah. Like, who's that guy?
Yeah, right.
I would love to see the other
Lane Thomas's dad
picks. It's Lane Thomas drafting himself, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think about Lane Thomas? I mean, I know late draft pick still, so you can get him whenever you want, right?
right.
Or you think about this being NFBC, you're talking the last rounds, you're getting to close to the 29th, 28th round type picks here for that kind of picks. So are you buying in on Lane Thomas at this price?
Yeah, at this price for sure. I mean, right now he's scheduled to lead off for the Washington Nationals. Yeah, the team's not the greatest, but hey, he's going to get the most at bats in that lineup. We've seen him produce with the power numbers last year, right? The on base and the average would be a little bit better. But when you're talking about, outside the top 300, if you're getting, anywhere close to 15, 20 something home runs a season, sprinkling a couple stolen bases, he's going to get some, as bad as the team's going to be, the baseball clubs still score runs, right? It may not be to the level of the Dodgers or the Yankees, but teams are still going to score runs, and someone's got to score those runs for the Washington Nationals.
And he's leading off, so
exactly.
Yeah, why not? I mean, like, projections aren't great. I mean, we're talking 15 homers, 50, 60 run and on RBI kind of mixed in there. Stolen bases only have him at 9, which feels light. I feel like that could be a lot higher, especially with the new rules.
The new rules, yeah.
But I think nobody really knows what to expect with the new rules, and Lane is
right.
a burner, but he can steal. So I could easily see that jump into like the 12, 13 range for him. He potentially has 20 home run pop, like if he can put it all together for a full season.
Yeah.
So that's a cheap price tag to pay. There's not a lot of risk there. I'm definitely in on him, and I've already snagged him in a couple of I think I have him on TGFBI. I just missed him in our league, the Fantasy Six Pack series. I don't remember if I've got him in Raz Slam or not, but I'm definitely, once it gets down to that point, and he's a bench guy for me, so I'll dive in, because you look at the names that are going around him, there's not a lot to like. So it's like, at least he's got something, and he's shown flashes in the majors of being a productive player for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Moving on here, Spencer Torkelson. Big time prospect last year. I mean, this guy was getting drafted much higher than this last season. Everybody was buying in. But this year it's going the other way, and it didn't even start good for him, right? He was just inside the 300 at 292 before March. Since March, it's dropped to 314. The min pick really isn't much better, 225. I don't know, man. When we did our first base preview on the Fantasy Six Pack Hours, Torkelson was one of my like late round flyer picks, and it still kind of is. Like, you always go back to like the prospect pedigree, and people thought he had the tools and the hitting tools and stuff like that, and so like it doesn't just go away, right? For some reason, there are certain players, right? I mean, Joe Adele comes to mind, right? Like, just whenever he gets up to the majors, it's just like deer in headlights. It just doesn't work. So maybe that's kind of what Torkelson's turning into. What's your thoughts on him?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, the big name prospect coming up last year, everyone was all on him, and now it's like we're kind of seeing that quality contact just isn't there. A lot of swing and misses. The batting average isn't where we want to see it. Even starting up this spring, he's struggling again, which I think is why we're seeing the dip in the ADP. I think people are maybe starting to get a little bit of fatigue on Spencer Torkelson, but I don't hate players. I hate ADPs. I've always said that. And when you get into something like 314, you look at some of that first base market in that range. Why not take a flyer on a guy that's had that pedigree? Yeah, it's true. But he does have that pedigree. He did it awesome when he was in the minors, right? Played great was it ASU. I mean, the guy has shown that he's done it at somewhat of a high level. And obviously not the highest level, but I was looking just briefly real quick at some of the first baseman around. You're talking about like Jared Walsh.
It was another guy who I kind of think could be a lot better than we think this year. But
so I've been a Jared Walsh guy. I think he had a bit of a down year last year. I would rather have Jared Walsh, but I'm still getting to some of the first basemen in that range.
ADP is much higher.
There's just like
he's dropping too. Actually.
Will Myers. I mean, these are the first basemen like in that range of like outside the 300, and it's just up to you. I mean, I think the gamble's worth it in that range. I guess this also depends on how your roster's built too, right? If you missed out on a lot of those like big name first basemen and you're looking for some like late round flyer, maybe might be able to help you in like the first base position, it might be worth it.
Yeah, no, I would definitely buy in at this point. It's not like a tremendous target for me, but again, I mean, the guy is only 23. You got to figure you got to just believe in the tools, right? I mean, the power is a 70 grade. Hit tool is 50, 60. It's there. It's just it hasn't clicked yet for him. For whatever reason, he's a little overwhelmed by major league pitchers. And Like, he's never going to be an average guy. He wasn't really an average guy even in the minors. So, like, throw that out the window. But, man, if he can start making at least decent contact, and I think he's got to learn how to walk a little bit more. He's got to learn how to take some pitches. That's the big thing, right? His walk rate last year was 9. That's not good. He needs to get that back up to where he was in the minors, which was in the 13, 14 range. If he can do that, especially in OBP leagues, he's reasonable. It's just he needs to be able to make contact and hit the ball, like, because when he's going to make contact, it's going to go. He's got that kind of power. I'll buy into him as a reserve first baseman and take a shot. I mean, worst come to worst at this price range.
I mean, the projection systems love him. Not quite sure why, but I mean, they're all get him in like anywhere from that 15 to 25 home run range, which seems aggressive. Since he's never hit more than 15 even in the minors. So
he's got 17 for the projections on my sheet.
I mean, ATC's got him at 17. Steamer's got him at 18. So it's like,
I mean, if he just like connects with 100 balls, you got to imagine 15 can go out, right? Like, that's the thing. So, like, I don't think it's unreasonable. It's just he's got to start making more contact. And, it almost comes to the point, too, where it's like, at what point do the Tigers just go, okay, you going back down? Because he's got options. He's still got 2 options.
Yeah.
So he can go back down and figure things out, and it's not out of the question. So there is that risk for sure. So, yeah, I think that is it for our ADP risers or our movers. for the hitters there. Again, we did our pitchers last night. That is on our YouTube channel as well. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We appreciate it. And to go become an all-access member, fantasy6pack.net/plans. Use promo code F6PMLB for 15% off. Good night, everybody, and see you next time.